Hi, this is Jens from Ume. Today I want to show you how to assemble the ottoman for the Reader lounge chair. Let's have a look at the content. Alright, so let's begin. First step is to make sure that your surface that you want to assemble on is nice and clean and soft. So we will add a carpet to our surface here. Just put the boxes aside and spread out a nice soft carpet or blanket. Next we will start to open the packages. There's two packages here, and the first one of two, is the wooden frame. The other one, two of two, is the cushion. So set aside the cushion package and start by building the frame. Here on the top you will find a user guide. This is essential for the steps you have to take. So of course go through this user guide and consult with this video as well. Cardboard part out and cut away here. Here you have the hardware box. This is where you find the installation tools and also the components needed for that. Next in here you'll find part of the wooden base. This is the middle part. Put it here. Remove the next cardboard layer, and here you will find the shell of the product. There we go. In the bottom here we have the two sets of legs. And of course open up the hardware box here. So in the hardware box you'll find a few different parts. They're all labeled with letters that will correspond to the ones in the user guide. So just make sure that you got them all noted down. So when you open up the user guide, the first step is to take the middle part here and add the wooden dowels named or labeled C and D. So let's start by doing that and start to insert these wooden dowels. So it's important to find the right orientation, so you put in the wooden dowels the correct way. The way that you find out which way the orientation should be is to look at the drawing. You'll note that this part here has to go down, and also that the two wooden dowels C needs to go in the bigger hole right here. So start by inserting those. They're quite loosely inserted, so it's not that difficult to push in. Just push with your fingers like so. Now we have these two installed. Then we need to add two smaller wooden dowels labeled D in the manual. We need to add them to each side here. And then we will take a close look. So one dowel has to go up here and another one needs to go down here. So it kind of shapes a triangle like so. They can be a bit more tight, so please push a bit harder if they're not all the way in. Flip to the other side and do the same pattern here. It's quite easy to add the two leg sides. Basically, they're already patterned out with the bigger wooden dowel here and the two smaller ones here. So basically take the two parts and find out which way goes the right way here. So you will guide it with the bigger wooden dowel and simply insert it into the leg side. Push firmly, but not too much with your fingers until you see that it matches up with the line here. There's not any space left over. Put the other one on like so, and again match up with the wooden dowels. and push. There we go. On to the next step. We'll take out the screws here and the spacers. To make it easy, we'll still keep the product like so, with the legs up, so it's more stable when inserting the screws. Start by adding the G spacer to the screw, and next add the F spacer. Then insert the screw and turn it in loosely with your fingers until you reach a point where you need the hex key tool. When you have turned all the screws in with your hands loosely, grab your tool and turn them all the way as much as you can. You can start by using the long end and then use the shorter end for a tighter turn. So here we have the wooden base. How to know which way is back and front? I can tell you that this is the front, so the side that is more narrow, and this is the back. So the chair will be here, like so, on your legs like that. You can also see that on the leg assembly here, it kind of slopes downwards like that. So you'll know that the wooden base here for the cushion needs to go like so. So it will slope like that with it, and also have this more narrow approach with the legs, because the legs in the back are more wide. Take the whole assembly and flip it upside down and add the screws labeled B. So it's the same procedure. We'll start by adding the spacer named G and then the spacer named F, and insert into the hole. This time it's a bit more tricky. We cannot actually turn it with our fingers. Instead, we will use the long end of the hex key to guide in the first screw. Turn it all the way in until you have to tighten it a bit more and then stop and add the other screws. The next screw that you will add should be the diagonal screw here, so it will fixate the base and the other holes will match up. The last step is to take the hex key, use the shorter side and make it as tight as you can. There we go. Final step is to add our two wooden restrainers named K. These two wooden restrainers is what keeps the cushion on to the product. Simply slide them in like so. Now we need to add the cushion. So set the assembly aside and take your box with the cushion and unpack this. The cushion is quite easy to install. You'll note that there's these two carvings on the back side that will match up with the wooden restrainers. So simply go like so, a bit back, look behind it and match up the two holes that you saw just before. Have a firm grip and move it forward. Next step is to add the screw named H in the manual. This goes on the bottom to prevent the cushion from sliding. Locate the small hole in the center here, insert the screw, and use screwdriver to turn it in. If your furniture is not located on a carpet for use, you can add these small fill pads to prevent the product from scratching your floor. Add these here to the bottom. And there we go. So that's it for now. Feel free to contact us on info@ume.com if you have any further questions, and we'll be happy to answer them.